Today we're going to create a new team project in Visual Studio Team System 2008 using the Team Foundation Server 2008. A team project is a container for all of your project artifacts, source control, process documents, project documents, the unit tests, all the reports, all the communication around your project. And so what we're going to do is from within Visual Studio, we're going to create a new team project. And here it's going to walk us through setting up our project. So I'm going to name the new project Job Board Demo 1. And I already have a job board project set up. I did that because it can take quite a bit of time to set up the project, as well as the first time you try to look at the portal or the reporting site. So I'm going to just cancel out of this after we get this set up, and then we'll look at the new project. If I click Next, I get to the Process Template page. Microsoft ships 2 templates with Team Foundation Server. One is a Microsoft Foundation for Agile Software Development. They also ship a template for CMMI process development. These templates dictate what things are set up when you initially set up your project. There are some default work items they set up, some default reports they set up, things like that. You can modify these templates or create completely new templates. Here I took the Agile template and I made some changes to set the project up according to my specific needs, and I cleverly named it Agile Software Development Modified. Today I'm just going to select the vanilla template that the project ships with. Click Next, and here is our portal. This is the SharePoint site that Team Foundation Server sets up with our team project. I always name the portal the same name as my team project to avoid confusion. We can also set the description of the portal here. Then I click Next again. Here it asks us about source control settings. We have the option here to create an empty source control folder, which will create a branch in the source control where you can put existing source code or new source code. You can also branch off of an existing project. If this is a different version or a patch or something like that where you're going to branch off an existing code base, you can select Create New Source Control Branch. It will create the branch, and then you would specify which project you want to branch off of. It will then create a new source control folder branched off the parent branch and move the source control there. You can also choose to not create any source control folder at this time and set it up later manually. I'm going to create an empty source control folder because I do have code that I'm going to be putting into my team project. And here we have just a confirmation screen of all the settings that we picked. I'm going to cancel this because I already have set up a team project called Job Board Demo, and here you can see I have it open on the side here. This is the Team Explorer, which is a plugin that comes with any Team Edition. You can also install Team Explorer onto Visual Studio Professional version. You can also install it as a standalone, and it will install a shell version of Visual Studio so that you can run the Team Explorer. However, you won't have, obviously, the Visual Studio portion of it. Here we can see the default things it set up. It set up these queries. You can modify these or create your own. These queries were set up according to the template that we selected. We can also see, if we click on the query for all work items, we can see that the template set up a number of work items for us, and they're all assigned to administrator because I was logged in as administrator when I started the project. Similarly, we can see here the documents, and you can see that it set up some template documents. And these documents were specified again by the process template we selected when we were setting up the project. Again, reports, same thing. The default canned reports you can modify or create your own, and the source control. If I click on source control, here you can see my job board demo, the project that I set up, and I had added the source control source files of my project into the project demo folder. We can also take a look at the project portal. This is a SharePoint site that is set up with your project. Team Foundation Server is actually running the SharePoint server. And you can see that it shows the template we selected. It shows some canned reports, canned documents. It has a default setup. It shows our work items that it created when we set up the project. And this is a site that you would modify to your needs. We can also look at the report site. This report site is running off of the SQL Server reporting services, and again, you can see the canned reports that it ships with. Now, the next thing we need to do for a team project is set up security. You need to set up security in 3 places. And to do that, you go to Team Project Settings, Security. Now you can see here that Team Foundation Server set up a number of default users groups for our project, and these groups are automatically added into the TFS server valid users. Here you can also specify what privileges the groups have. So I am going to pick my contributors group, and these are going to be my developers, and I actually want them to be able to administer a build, so I am going to check that. If you notice, by default that is unchecked. So if you want your developers to be able to do builds and you set them as a contributor, you need to check that. If you have a couple different people, groups, developers, and PMs that you want to be contributors, and one you don't want to give that permission to, you can create a whole other group called PMs and set the privileges there. Now I'm going to add to my contributors group, I'm going to add a Windows AD group. And in my Windows AD group, I have all my developers for the team project. So I'm going to add my Windows group called Dev Team. Click OK, and my Dev Team now has access to my project. There are 2 other places, however, that we need to set up security, on SharePoint and on the reporting site. To do that, we'll go to our project portal. And here we're going to go to Site Actions, Site Settings, and set up security here. People and groups. I'm going to add new. I'm going to set up a new group called contributors. And I'm going to say they can contribute. Click OK. Oh, sorry. I have to add the Windows group, not the TFS group. So I'm going to add my Dev Team as a group. And here it's working. And so now you can see my Dev Team has permissions to the SharePoint site to contribute. The last thing we need to do is set up permissions on the report site if we want our team to be able to access that site. So to do that, you pull up the report site, go to the Home, go to the Properties tab, and here you can see that my Dev Team is already set up as a Browser Content Manager, Dev Team, and Report Builder. This is because I have set them up for previous projects. You can see some of the other teams that I have set up. So I'm going to click that, New Role Assignment, and here you can see, here we can create a new role We can select the privileges, cancel that, and that's it. So that's how we have set up a project in Team Foundation Server.